We want to teach our kids to use these tools responsibly. But in order to do that, you have to give kids agency over these things. You can't take it away or ban it from them.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media. And we also ask them questions that we get from parents all over the country in our program. Now, let's get back to the interview.
Hi, I'm Mark Odsather, Superintendent of Pleasantview School District. We're located in the central San Joaquin Valley of California in Poplar, California. We've got 465 students, 2 different school sites.
Superintendent, it's so great to have you here today as we talk about keeping kids safe on social media so they can someday shine online. You have a different school system that you're going to tell us a little bit about, and we're going to ask you a few questions, and I'd love to dive into that for a few minutes and maybe share with some of the other districts nationwide some insights. Maybe you'll say, hey, Josh, these questions you have for me are not relevant because we have perfect little angels in our community. Or maybe, hey, here's how we've overcome that. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, for sure.
Great. So here's what I'm seeing nationwide. And again, Superintendent, you can totally disagree with this. We're just trying to keep kiddos safe so they can someday shine online here at Smart Social. So after a couple hundred of these superintendent conversations on our podcast, we've heard a trend, and I want to share this with you. We're hearing that some students in some communities are growing up, well, they all are, in a digital world filled with powerful tech, AI, and social media. But they're lacking the maturity sometimes and guidance to use it safely in some cases. And the result is really more student absences, lower focus in some cases, rising cyberbullying, declining self-esteem, and in some communities, AI misuse in the classroom. The parents in other communities are trying to raise great kids, just like in your community, in a world that they really didn't grow up in, a world where tech is moving faster than safety policies, and teens know how to hide apps and online behavior, and safety lessons are usually come after a crisis. Are there any other trends on this topic that you've seen so we can alert other districts before they see them?
This is interesting. I understand the question. I think the approach most school systems use is always reactionary. And Pleasantview is different. We have a completely different model of education where a lot of our focus is building the right belief systems in our kids, the efficacy, teaching them how to have agency over their own voice and really become independent learners, which they can apply to any setting and any situation. So for our kids and for our staff, the way we look at a lot of this stuff is we got to give our kids the tools to make good decisions about their life and understand that. And I think again, so much of this stuff, because technology is moving so fast, it's hard for school systems to get out in front of it. So I've seen, like recently with California wanting to or banning cell phones in schools and making these decisions, and I think we should be approaching it from a different side completely.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that different side that you're approaching it from.
We want to teach our kids to use these tools responsibly. But in order to do that, you have to give kids agency over these things. You can't take it away or ban it from them. And so like Pleasantview, our main focus is really building relationships with kids. And that's the catalyst to drive how we help shape these belief systems. And we really do it through trying to build their self-efficacy. So their own belief that they can do a good job in a variety of situations, whether it's academic or social or those different constructs.
Give me some specific examples because we're kind of high level here. Can you give me some examples of what you're doing in the classroom?
Yeah, so like I'll give you a couple. So like our fifth graders, they work with the teachers to co-design their own projects. So they use AI tools along with the teachers to design these projects they're doing around, like, I can give you an example, like chemical reactions was one of the most recent ones. And so we had kids that were designing volcano projects, kids that were designing elephant toothpaste, which I don't even know what that is, but like all around these different chemical reactions. We focus on financial literacy projects out here. All of our kids do 2 financial literacy projects a year. Our third graders this year chose that they wanted to learn about sound. So they went to the LA Zoo and charted amplitudes of sound waves of animals. And then they came back and they actually went to the 3D lab up at Cal State Stanislaus and built a drum and then played the drums at our winter Christmas program. And so teaching kids to take ownership over their own learning and that agency in any situation, right? And then we do every grade level, TK through 8th does 2 Paideia seminars a month. And we bring in a lot of text around, current social issues or other things to have conversations with our kids about these types of things. One of the ones that I know my junior high has done is the social me. So they read a text about which is the real version, which is the real me. Is it the me that goes to church on Sunday? Is it the me that is at home with my family? Is it the me that shows up at school? And then the kids learn to take agency over their own voice and really be reflective about the choices they're making. So we don't focus on the technology, right? We focus on responsible use of these things, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that idea. I think elephant toothpaste is the volcano effect that where the stuff that you put in it grows 100 times really fast.
Yes. Yeah,
Uh,
that was a
it
popular one.
shoots out of the tube. Kids love it, and it's very bright colored. I think it has like a lot of color to it, the way they
Yeah.
make it. That's super exciting. Speaking of kids, to all of our viewers right now, we're so excited you're here because you're either a parent, a superintendent, or somewhere in between, helping to keep your kids successful. One of the big things we do at our live events is listen to parents and then answer the questions with real students and teens. The parents are asking us in our live events, what advice, Josh, would you give a student to help them recognize some of the red flags of a dangerous stranger? Well, let's hear from a real student about how she might help a friend recognize red flags. It's way more interesting. This is a little taste of one of our live events.
If I had a friend talking online to a stranger, I think that I would feel a little bit uncomfortable with the whole situation. I would advise against it because so many indirect issues can come from that, and it could cause something to be worse than if they had just unadded them in the first place. Some red flags that I would have to advise them to cut it off with this person or to stop engaging would be if the person starts to get very involved in their personal life and they seem to be very intrigued in what's going on with them and wanting to know all little details about what they do and who they are, and just very personal details and things that you wouldn't normally share with a stranger in real life. If they're very persistent and constantly wanting to talk to my friend or constantly trying to be involved in their life or wanting to speak to them, I feel like that's kind of a red flag. Another thing would be if they ask them to ever meet them anywhere in person right from the start, if they feel a sense of being uncomfortable or their intuition is just saying it's wrong, or if my intuition is saying something feels wrong with this, then I think that's a major red flag.
All right, parents, remember, if your school district is a partner, we have weekly live online virtual parent events that are live. Yours truly right here leads them. We have 7 other guest experts with teens in the room. There's teen-led video lessons in the program. A lot of parents are bringing their teens to listen to the teens, and there's all kinds of different topics. You get a premium parent newsletter. It's a different way of doing this whole thing. January is all about shining online. February is avoiding strangers, and March is resilient kids in a digital world. We're teaching Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, all kinds of stuff all year long. We've got bonus events. We've got the highlights of the month, and we have teens everywhere in this thing. And you can go back and watch the previous months. Remember to come out because we do giveaways each week. If your district is a current partner of ours, there's Kindles, there's 3D printers, there's Bluetooth speakers. We're doing giveaways like crazy. But we want you to come and learn from our 45-minute program. Bring your kids. And we've heard that they actually like the outsider talking to them. We're on the news a lot. Parents, remember to come on out. Okay, we're back to our expert. Now, Superintendent, as a result of all this and the 200 episodes that we have in this podcast of real superintendents, your peers, we've heard from communities. And again, I want you to differ from this. I want you to tell me where I'm wrong, Superintendent, because your community might be totally different. But many parents, we're hearing, are overwhelmed trying to keep up with fast-moving online trends and digital safety risks. And we're hearing that students are finding ways to increase their screen time and bend the rules, especially when the expectations at school can differ significantly from those at home, or we're going into summer, which is totally different, right? Superintendent, what trends or pain points are you seeing during the school year when it comes to parent engagement? And where do you feel families are struggling the most to stay informed or connected?
Well, I think it's hard to keep up with everything that's going on, right? The current trends in social media. And I think, what we've actually seen is a decrease in kids using technology in our school in the last few years because we've moved towards this more independent learning path for our kids. So they're not as dependent upon it. We want them to use it, of course, but I think for a lot of our parents, we're located in an area that's one of the most impoverished in the nation. So a lot of our parents are giving the cell phones to their kids, not fully understanding what's on them, right? And so, but the one thing I've seen is that we've had some issues pop up where kids were communicating with possibly an adult that was masquerading as a kid. But because we have such a focus on building this efficacy of all the learners in our system, which includes the kids, the parents, the teachers, and we have a strong sense of building community and relationships in our classroom. All of our classrooms, TK through 8, are open classrooms, meaning that there's no walls. We took the walls out years ago. So my 8th grades, 2 teachers, 2 instructional aides, 50, 60 kids, all in one big open space. But we've seen this strong sense of community develop in our kids. And so The situation that happened here a few months ago immediately was brought to our attention by multiple kids where we could get in contact, and parents actually reached out to us to let us know about what their kids were telling them. And so as a community, we could address it with the families who just weren't aware of what was taking place.
Yeah, so true. And that's a well-balanced approach too. What's your advice to parents? We hear this a lot because we want to get more parents involved. We want to keep them up to date. We want to keep them keeping kids safe. And like you said, some of the 13-year-olds chatting with 13-year-olds, that one of them is probably a 45-year-old adult masquerading as a kid. What's your top tip there, Superintendent, to have a parent open up that rich dialogue at home, which we here at Smart Social believe that the number one safety app in the world is a strong relationship between a trusted adult and the kid, so the kid feels comfortable going to them. What's your biggest tip for parents on how to open that dialogue up?
This is where I think the school systems have to come in and work with families, right? And what I mean by that is, like, when we're talking about we have what we call an ambassador group that we took up to a retreat in the mountains for a weekend. And we did the same Paideia seminars with our families as we do with our kids. And it's talking to them about building relationships with their kids and how to do that. And so that they feel like they're connected to a broader community. Because the problem with social media is it's so isolating, right? Like, the technology can be isolating. We've lost this interpersonal relationship and we think it's replaced by the technology, and it's not. The more that we've worked on those types of things here, we've seen less kids using less and less the technology at school. And we've had less issues of kids coming to school saying that they're being bullied online but I think for parents, again, it's a world that they didn't grow up in. So how do we bring them into this broader community of feeling like they're a part of this relationship that's taking place at school with their kids and the staff here? And that's where we've seen the difference is our parents come talk to us. And there's an open line of communication all the time, because the same things happened in our communities is that we've isolated ourselves. I grew up in a time where, like, every parent in the community knew who we were and they knew where we were at all hours for the most part. And they felt like they were a part of raising every kid in the community. And I think technology has isolated our families in the communities that we serve, for sure.
Do you have any dialogue starters that you love to have parents ask their kids to open those kids up?
No, I think we just encourage our families to talk to their kids and spend time with their kids and build, we have such a heavy focus on building relationships because a lot of our kids come from very non-traditional home situations, right? And so it really comes down to just building relationships with our kids and keeping that open dialogue and being honest with kids. And I think sometimes we don't say what we should be saying to kids because we're worried about giving them too much information too soon. So
that's fair enough. Hey, Superintendent, I want to thank you. Thanks for your time for coming out here today.
I appreciate it.
To all of our viewers, it's been great to get to know you over this conversation. Remember that rich, healthy dialogue with your kids is the most important thing that we believe is going to protect your child from dangerous people outside of your house, and also some of that screen time addiction and all the other stuff. And you get to learn AI together the closer you are. I want you to really keep in mind, come to our next Parent Night evening events. You're going to get dozens of dialogue starters that you can use. Parents are raving about these, saying, wow, I didn't know that I could ask it that way and my kids would open up even more. One of the key takeaways is ask about your kids' friends, see what's going on there. We look forward to seeing you in Back to School, our anti-bullying campaign, and everything else. Parents, also remember to keep it light, bright, and polite because your kids are watching what you're posting online. I'm Josh Oakes. We'll see you all on the next episode. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks for listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. Smart Social helps parents understand technology and social media to keep their kids safe and successful. Be sure to join one of our weekly online live events to become the smartest parent on the block so you can keep your kids safe and protect their future. Also, don't miss our 450 plus online resources and replays you can watch on demand in multiple languages. Are you a school district wanting to unlock these resources for your parents? Reach out to us so we can protect your whole community each week. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next episode.